Hey guys, Default here. Today I'm going to give you guys the second episode of Disney Talk. Before I start, please leave a like and subscribe and click that notification bell down below. Today I'm going to be continuing talking about Tiana's Bayou because I did see a lot of podcasts and a lot of talk going on YouTube. And I like to do this every Sunday. So for now on, this whole schedule is just going to be mostly on Sundays. Hopefully it'll be every Sunday, or at least every upload will happen every single Sunday. So yeah, sorry if I'm talking like really fast. But I haven't been really sleeping very well, so I will be reading this article, and I'd be struggling with reading right now and talking a little bit. So for the past couple of days, I haven't been sleeping well. But anyways, moving on. I don't know if you guys were listening to the last podcast episode. I was talking about Tiana's Bayou and the whole Peter Pan ride that happened in Japan. But now I'm just going to be fully talking about Tiana's Bayou because now there's articles about the whole ride and issues that I want to address because I haven't even seen it or seen any of these at all until today. So yeah, I just want to talk about it, to be honest with you, and the negative backlash that everybody's been giving out, especially the most of the Disney fans too. So, or some of them, I don't know. But this article is from Florida Politics. This is just a random website that I found on Google, so if you guys want to check it out, feel free to check it out. This is Tiana's Bayou Adventure Disney World's new ride faces early delays. Some people were stuck in the line for more than 3 hours waiting for Tiana's Bayou Adventure to reopen, so they could be amongst the first ride at Disneyland, or ride it at Disneyland. Sorry, I can't read. That's the whole header right now, at least. I won't be reading the whole thing at least, but I'll be reading this and then reading it, or explaining to you like what I think. Yeah, waiting for 3 hours for this ride is, wow, amazing, I guess. But I think this is going to be one of those rides because it is, obviously in the header, is people want to be the first people to ride it. I believe from the last podcast I listened to, the ride is officially out to the public, at least in Disney World. I don't know about Disneyland, but in Disney World it's open. There is a lot of issues that are going on in that ride. Let me see if it will say right here. It says it has been smooth sailing for Disney World new ride this week. Tiana's Bayou, the log ride has replaced Splash Mountain. Some people were stuck. Yeah, some people were stuck for more than 3 hours waiting for the ride to reopen, so they could among the first to ride it, according to a social media post at Walt Disney News today. Blog covers a new park. Oh, here it is. Water rides can be notorious difficult to run, add in high effect audio animatronics, lots of sensors, technology, and all exposed to water, and as a problem can arise. I did explain that the last time because with screens and newer high tech quality animatronics can cause a lot of issues, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, look at Pirates of the Caribbean. There's not a whole lot of like high tech stuff. I think that maybe the most high tech stuff is that mist thing that's at least at Disneyland. I don't know if it's still over at Magic Kingdom, but yeah. I'm just trying to see. Here's a good one. So after opening in 1989, Splash Mountain was beloved for its darling plunge, catchy music, and cute animatronics. Disney announced it was changing the ride's theme in 2020 during the time of the civil rights protest. Splash Mountain was based on a song of the South that Disney CEO Bob Iger once said he would never release on Disney Plus. I thought it was released on Disney Plus, now that I think of it, but maybe I'm wrong. I felt as long as been CEO of the Song of the South, even when the disclaimer was just not appropriate in today's world. Bob Iger said that in March 2020. I skipped the majority of the article, but if you want to check that article out, it's Florida Politics. I'm reading this specifically from the article. But I'm just going to talk about it and what I've been hearing through podcasts and stuff like that, and we'll move on. So I did hear a lot of negative things that the ride has been falling apart. There's a lot of issues where people are now able to be taken out of the ride because of issues and stuff like that, which is very unnormal for Disney, especially for a day one or week one ride opening. So I don't know what's Disney's issue right now, and just lazily putting out attractions and stuff like that. But I feel like what it is that they're trying to cater to a certain group of Disney goers. And basically the other half, the woke half, which I did see in a couple of other podcasts. They're trying to cater to another part of the group of the Disney goers, which is really, really bad because the majority of all their Disney consumers are usually like the real OG fans that just wouldn't want anything to be touched and know that it won't do good. Specifically, also me. I'm one of those people that kind of, I don't know if this ride's going to be really that good, because if it's a reskin of a ride that's already pretty much iconic in that matter, it's not going to do well. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, it's not going to do well. By the way, sorry if the mic quality is a little bit bad. You guys are on my AirPods, so yeah, sorry about that. But anyways, yeah, it seems like it's going to be really, really bad, especially for this ride being another 20 to 30 years. Unless they're willing to spend $130 million again to fix the whole ride, then fine. I'm not a whole financial person, but that's a lot. It's a lot, especially like week one for this ride to not do so well. It seems like they're gonna do that because it's already delaying a lot of like just stuff in general. You know, that's really bad. It's honestly really, really bad for even a week one ride, and they were hyping this ride up like there was no other. I know a lot of like half of the people, there was like split in half. It was 50-50. Like people didn't want Splash Mountain to go, and there's people that wanted Splash Mountain to go. But and I also heard this from a podcast too, not word for word, but they said Splash Mountain should have never left. And I know a lot of people are saying, but the ride was really, you know, hopefully I don't get flagged for this or anything like that. Hopefully I don't. But it's been real racist. The ride is racist or something like that because it's based off Song of the South. And as I recall, the whole ride was not even like shown any references to that movie at all. It was just a fun, goofy ride with cartoon animals, and that was really it. And the Zippity Doo-Dah song. But I really don't know where people are going with that whole racism thing, because that's old Disney. You know, there's a lot of things that happened in the past with Disney, and for old production, or sorry, old movie stuff, old cartoon stuff. There's always going to be stuff like that back in the 1950s to back then. You know, it's normal for them because it's so normal to them, and they're so accustomed to it. So that's them. And even today, there's still controversy about that. So by all means, if you're super offended by anything, please leave. Please leave the video. So just disclaimer, please leave the video. I'm not going to talk a lot about this. I'm not going to say any offensive, but please leave the video if you do not like this type of stuff. But yeah, finding something very racist in a cartoon ride, and especially like some people did say like, oh, people are like over exaggerating for a small attraction. But yet again, this is the whole reason that this attraction is being changed, because a small thing. So especially back in the 1950s, and even maybe a little bit later than that, but back in the 1950s and maybe earlier than that, people are still hooking on to old things that shouldn't even be brought up at this time, to be honest with you, because we already have our own problems right now. So why bringing back old problems that already been solved years ago? But you know, Disney and just people nowadays, the new generation, just they want to bring up stuff and try to shovel it under the rug. So yeah, it's just one of those things where you have to, at least for me, I have to live around this area of the world where it's just kind of like, okay, whatever, it's just one of those things that just we're gonna basically bite ourselves in the foot or just basically slap each other in the face until we figure out, like, it's like one of those things where don't touch the stove, it's hot, or don't touch the toaster, it's really hot, and then you touch it and you're like, oh, like, see, I told you not to touch it, but it's one of those things, people have to figure out on their own, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, like, we shouldn't have done that. It's one of those things. But yeah, I 100% agree with certain podcast people that they do not like this ride. And I agree, it's one of those rides where it just shouldn't been a thing. It really shouldn't. Especially because it was an old ride and it was the most iconic ride ever, at least to the Disney parks. And even Japan, they don't even really care. They still have that ride because how it's just a really good ride. Why would you change? See, the thing is that I don't understand. Why would you change something that already works? If it already works, like, it's been like decades, basically, more than decades of this ride being or at least Splash Mountain being operational. All of a dang sudden, once 2020 hit, all of a dang sudden, Aries just like, oh, like, everything's racist now because of the whole BLM thing and blah blah blah. It's just like, this is an attraction that was made back in 1996, I think, 1999 or something like that. And this ride was inspired by a movie that was made in like 1960s, 1950s. I don't remember specifically. But yeah, this is one of those movies that, hang on, actually, let me look it up just to clarify, because I know this movie is really, really old and it hasn't been really talked about. So let me see. It was 1949. So relatively 1950s. Now, just to show proof, I did look it up. It's right here. Oh, hang on. Sorry, my bad. Bad showing. Here it is. Why? I wonder why Google's blue for some reason. But yeah, oh my god. I actually kind of want to watch this movie now, just to see what the whole controversy is. But it came back, or it released in 1949, November 12th. So, it was about 1950s. So, yeah, this movie is old. It's really, really old. It shouldn't be affected by us, especially in 2020. That doesn't really make any sense, but, people like to bring up old stuff, but whatever. I mean, I'm 26 years old, and I don't really care. Like, I'm going to say this right now, because I know a lot of people are going to be saying, like, in the comments, like, oh, like, well, then why are you supporting this? I don't support this. I was growing up in a household where racism is technically not really a thing. I mean, obviously I love, like, the racist jokes because it's just funny, like Asian racism jokes. Like, I watch Jimmy O Yang. I watch a lot of, like, Fluffy. I watch because they also have some racist jokes in them because they're funny. I love those type of jokes because like, yeah, like, it's funny with Germans and stuff like that. It's just funny. I have a really good funny bone with that. But racism is just really, in my vocabulary, it's just, it doesn't really, like, comprehend that. Like, if I say something, like, mistakable, I'm like, oh, like, my bad, like, that was my fault, I'm an idiot, I shouldn't have said that, but, I said it. But, hey, it's, for me, it's just a word. It really doesn't, like, offend me that much. I never really grown up to be offended by really anything, to be honest with you, because the only thing I would be offended by is that, like, oh, you're not a real Disney fan or something like that. But other than that, like, but yeah, I just don't really get offended by anything. I don't really care. Racism is just a word. Remember, it's just a word. At the end of the day, we just need to learn how to distance ourselves away from it. But people like to be hooked on things, so yeah. But yeah, this ride, Tiana's Bayou, is bad. It's really bad. Not only that, I did hear another thought that this ride, at least by far that I noticed, it does not have jazz ick music. And I know jazz because I listen to a lot of jazz, specifically only Billie Holiday. Um, I don't know if that really counts as jazz, but um, there's also another jazz artist that I used to listen to all the time on Spotify, but I can't remember on the top of my head. Um, but I listen to a lot of jazz though. I don't have a particular like specific artist. I just love jazz in general. I listen to it with my uncle because he loves jazz too. Um, but that wasn't jazz music. I did notice that. I was like, man, there really is no jazz music in this ride. And Disney admitted it that they're gonna make a jazzic, upbeat ride and expect people to clap or clap to the beat while going down the hill. Not gonna happen. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. Specifically that drop, you're not gonna see that. Just being realistic here. But so far this ride, it's not so good. By the way, sorry if I look all gronky or something like that, all weird. These are my pajamas. But yeah. So by the looks of it, it looks like this ride is gonna be either gonna end up being like superstar limo. I don't know if theme parks nowadays pull that type of thing where they just kind of remove an attraction just under the radar, or they rework it. I don't really know how theme park rides be reworked or just under the radar taken out of. So I don't know what Disney's gonna do if this ride does any better later in the weeks or months or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going to do very hot because it's been having issues and stuff like that. And already by the looks of it, I think I'm going to skip this ride, to be honest with you. I know I'm making this a kind of a big deal, but it's one of those rides where it kind of just, like, I'm just going to have to skip because for one, it doesn't look good. I got to admit though, like the ride looks more brighter now, but yeah, I'm just more of a Splash Mountain fan. I've always been a Splash Mountain fan. I love the Zippity Doo-Dah song. Like, come on, it's Zippity Doo-Dah. Who does not like Zippity Doo-Dah more than Almost There? Name one person that legitimately listens to that song more than Zippity Doo-Dah. Like, come on. You don't go to Disneyland and hear I'm Almost There. You usually always hear Zippity Doo-Dah, Zippity, yeah. That you always hear that. It doesn't even have to be lyrical. It's just the song in general. It's more an iconic theme than that song. And already people don't really like, at least by far that everybody's been saying, people don't like Princess and the Frog that much. I actually kind of like that movie. That was like probably the last good hand-drawn movie that they've made because now they go through 3D animation now. But I actually really love that movie. It wasn't like horrible. It was just kind of like, it was not that bad, like it was pretty good. I love the whole music score. I love New Orleans, it's really good. I love the story. But this ride, not it, Chief. It let it cook a little bit more. That's what the kids say now, which I don't get. But yeah, it's really, really sad to see an attraction or ride being like this and being just shown by Disney, specifically the lead company right now, being lazy, just being really, really lazy, and just thinking like, oh, Disney fans are really stupid. They're just gonna go see this ride anyways. They saw it and they're like, this ain't it, Chief. This ain't it. So Disney, again, what I said last week. Please, 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 please experiment more with your fans. I'm telling you, that little weird cul-de-sac that you have right next to Pirates exit, Tiana's thing. I know they're gonna make that restaurant now. At least at Disneyland, that section, the old restaurant, the New Orleans one, New Orleans. They're gonna make it Tiana's thing. So put it the ride right there. It just makes sense. It really does. And it doesn't even have to be a big ride. It could just be, like the Snow White ride. I don't know, just something really simple, but at the same time, it makes people want to spend money in your restaurants or something like that. You know, it just works. It really works. And it's kind of out of place to put Tiana's Bayou Adventure, that, let me recall that New Orleans doesn't even have mountainous areas, and it's a water ride. So it just by happens to mean that it's in a swamp and it's a water ride. Like, it doesn't really work. It doesn't. At least in my head, it doesn't work. If you get what I'm saying, then good for you. If you didn't, then I don't know. But yeah, I don't see the whole issue with that. I really don't. There are so many ideas that you could use, and I did see a park map, and I do check through the Disney app, by the way. There's a lot of areas where they're just kind of like, you guys have a lot of areas, a lot of great areas that you just need to fill in, you know? There's a lot of places that in that area, there's nothing. There's literally nothing there. So why don't you just change it? Like, you have the area, just change it. There's literally a good, like, I want to say from the park to at least the streets of Disneyland, where the stoplights and stuff like that, there's a big margin of stuff right there that just isn't filled yet. There's still a park left. So, because how small Disneyland is, I get it. But Disneyland is a very compact land already. So, like what I said, that cul-de-sac that you have just, when you get out of Pirates, at least at Disneyland, on the left-hand side, there's just literally like nothing there. It's just like pretty much a roundabout that you can go on the other side to the Disney Railroad Way or Haunted Mansion. That's pretty much what that is. So I would say, like, in that cul-de-sac, or an attraction, or whatever the heck you want to do, Tiana's thing, whatever, put it right there. That's just easy. It's probably cheaper and maybe a little bit expensive, I don't know. But it's a whole lot more cost effective than making it reskin an iconic ride and lazily do it. So yeah, it's really frustrating to see an iconic ride being torn down to this and not feel vocalized or feel recognition to, you know. I felt the same way, the whole backlash when Splash Mountain's being taken down like a year ago or 2 years ago. And people were like, womp womp, you know, like, too bad for you. And it's like, yeah, but now when you look at this ride, now you're kind of just like, you should have listened to us, you know. Like, I was one of those half of people that were trying to, I was actually one of those people that funded to keep Splash Mountain going or in operational. But no, I only donated like $5. That's all I had, but it was still something, you know. I was one of those people. It was just really, really sad to see an iconic ride reskinned and then just been like a laughing stock. And it's just like, wow, like, this is Disney now. Like, they don't care. They pick their side now. They pick sides now. Disney picks sides now because they're scared that the woke community will just cancel them. You're not going to get canceled. You're a multi-billion, trillion-dollar company, and you're worried about that side of the generation. Which, by the way, they already kind of like shoot themselves in the foot multiple times. So, yeah. For some reason, they want change, but they also don't like change. You get what I'm saying? That generation, or at least majority of them, I'm not saying everybody in that generation, or that cancel generation, they like to mistake themselves a lot. So, yeah, I'm not really the one that talks about this, but this is gonna be one of those episodes that you gotta learn your P's and Q's. You know, you gotta mind your P's and Q's with stuff. You know, like, the internet is a vast majority. It's like a whole world that you do research on, but everybody wants to be stuck on the negative side of the internet, but never really do their own research. So it doesn't really make any sense. Because I remember having and I remember this clearly, that I had a full conversation, at least on my old TikTok account. People were just backlashing, saying that, oh, like, good, Splash Mountain's being taken down, blah, blah, blah. And then I had a whole thing that was saying that, Song of the South came back in 1959 or 1950s. I gave them the whole like introduction to that movie, and they're like, "Oh, but still it seems racist." Let me just give you a clarification. This movie, I did do research on this a couple of years ago. This movie is not even about racism or slavery in that matter. It's after slavery. What is the main character, the slave? He's like just happy, he enjoys life. Before the slavery, he hated it. But this movie's after that. It's literally after the whole Civil War thing, etc. It's literally after all of that happened. So people not researching and actually watching the movie instead of getting offended by something that happened in 1959 or 1949, excuse me. And again, this is old Disney we're talking about. But yeah, it's really, really dumb to be hooked on something like that. And specifically like Peter Pan, that movie came out like 1960s, maybe in the 1950s. That movie came out a long time ago, and now people are like kind of like, oh, like Native Americans is kind of like racist a little bit. How is it racist? It's Neverland, dude. It's a cartoon. If we're making a big deal about cartoons, boy, man, like even the cartoons now is even more annoying. It's very, very driven to some other community I want to really bring up. But it's more catered to that, and it's no difference from racism, I know, or it's different from racism, but still, remember, these movies and cartoons came back in 1950s to 60s to 70s, and remember, it was normalized back then. It's different from nowadays because it's not normalized as much, but back then, dude, it was normal. Remember, the 1950s to 60s to 70s. So, I don't know. People are still hooked up on stuff that happened in the past but had nothing to do with them. So, it's just one of those people that want to bring up stuff that they get offended to and they just found out on TikTok and stuff like that. So, yeah, I feel like the internet now, at least the people that are utilizing it right now, should stay off of it. Because I'm one of those people that watch this happen. I don't even comment on anything anymore because it's just, should I really comment on this? But it's just one of those things where I kind of like to watch at this point and just be like, we're already going downhill, guys. Come on. We already have issues with taxes and inflammation and stuff like that. And we're worried about an attraction that was basically based off a movie in 1949. So, where has our priorities been going? I know this is more of a Disney talk, but I'm sorry. I had to say it because I didn't say it in the last episode. But I had to say it just because I had to take it off my chest. I had to. Again, that's why I did a disclaimer before I started this section. But this is basically how that riot, Tiana's Bayou, begun, is by racism. Because people were really, really bored and just decided to ruin something that shouldn't have been touched in general. Because honestly, it didn't. It really didn't. I mean, shoot, Pirates of the Caribbean got remade, or at least fixed, for the auction section, at least in every single version of the ride. At least, I think so. But yeah, it was changed to, a more feministic or feminism thing, I don't know. But yeah, it was changed to that. It had nothing to do with racism. But there's still native like Indians and stuff like that in Disney parks. Like if you remember going on the steamboat thing at Disneyland, there's still like a teepee and stuff like that. There's still a couple of stuff like that because it's the frontier. But again, I don't know. I really don't know. It's one of those things where I just don't want to touch at all. But it's also one of those things where you kind of just just be quiet. There's one of those things where you just do not ruin something that was already working before. So it's like basically, I don't know how to bring this up. So I'm already losing train of thought because how frustrated I am with that. And it just sickens me. It really honestly sickens me. Because where we are now at the Disney parks is because the people back then in 2020, and Bob Iger even agrees to the majority of this, is that, oh yeah, because, you know, the woke generation, we agree with them. It's like no, you don't. You're just trying to like save yourself from a whole bunch of backlash, which is really not going to affect you, really, honestly, at all. Because even them, they still don't care. It just shows proof. This ride shows proof that they don't care. They see this happen and they're like, oh, this is what it turns into? Yeah. And I know this is like, you know, like, this could have been easily fixed. And maybe, you know, it kind of like, yeah, this ride looks kind of good. But no, this shows proof that Disney does not care about this woke generation. They just want you to shut up and take it. And because they expect us, because as Disney fans, they expect us to be like, okay, no, sorry, but no. I'm one of those people that are like, I like my Splash Mountain, I love my Space Mountain, I love my Big Thunder Mountain. Excuse me, I need to sneeze. I love my Big Thunder Mountain. I thought I was gonna sneeze, but dude, I'm like, oh man, sorry. Love my Big Thunder Mountain. Do not touch those. Do not touch those. If you touch those, and specifically, because the whole controversy around Indiana Jones also, I know that's like bigger, I don't want to bring it up, but if anybody touches Indiana Jones, The Great Adventure, I will fight somebody. And I would tell you this right now, if anybody is willing to touch that ride, if Disney, if you touch that ride, I will never step foot in Disney Park. I'm telling you this right now, I would never, ever step in a Disney Park if you remove that ride because of controversy. Those movies have came out long before these kids even like honestly even formed words. So, or even being conceived in that matter. So for me, if you touch that ride or anything that's touched in general with Indiana Jones or anything that has to do with Disney oriented stuff, I will fight people. I swear to you, I will fight people. And I don't care. Like, it's just, there's some things you should not touch. And because the woke community, they like to figure out something else to, ruin. Do not touch that. You do not touch stuff that does not affect you in any way. Do not touch this. Have you seen that? What is it? The TikTok sound is like, do not touch this. If you touch this, oh my God, did you touch this? It's one of those things. Do not touch anything that does not affect you. If you don't like it, then move along. Cry about it and then move along. That's it. This is the reason why you do not touch things. Is because you got in too much in your head and you just thought like, oh, like maybe it's a better change for the new generation. Sure. Yeah. How is the president doing right now? Oh, you're sleeping, so. Yeah, I don't really like talking about political things and stuff like that, but hey, shots fired. I had to say it. I really honestly had to say it. This is honestly a Disney talk, but yeah, I'm telling you, Disney, do not cater to that side of the community. Do not. It's gonna hurt you in the long run. Because if you're willing to, it's been in the talks. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but some people had rumors because of Tarzan, or maybe it already changed. Because of Tarzan, because of the, I don't remember why they even brought up Tarzan, but it was something like they wanted to cancel it because of how racist it is or something like that. I don't remember the controversy, but I was just like, Tarzan, you're kidding, right? A man that was trapped or left in the jungle for years and years. His parents died. Is this the right thing to change? And it's like, dude, like, what the hell? Like, okay, like, I guess Tarzan's treehouse, it doesn't really make any sense to change it into Encanto, though, because it's in Adventureland. So, that doesn't, okay, like, just, yeah, think about this right now. Imagine putting Encanto, Spanish movie in Adventureland. Let me remind you too that Adventureland, at least at Disneyland, is mostly Polynesian, Hawaiian, or at least relatively to tribal themed. Encanto, let me recall that this movie is. It is a Spanish. I want to say Spanish because I don't want to say Mexican or something else. But it's a Spanish type movie that is being replacing Tarzan, which is a tribal, jungle-ish type of theme. That doesn't appease really at all. That's like putting Cinderella in Tomorrowland just because she has like bippity boppity boo. I don't fucking know. Something stupid, you know? It's really, really dumb. So, at least that's like a controversy thing. I don't know if it's already been changed already. But I remember that, and I was just like, what? Like, why Tarzan? Like, why touch Tarzan? It was fine. Like, nobody really got on Tarzan's treehouse a lot, but, you know, it's a thing, you know? It's one of those things that kind of just went under the radar for a long, long time. And people got bored, and then now it's kind of just like, why do you need to touch this at all? So, I don't know. And then I also heard controversy about Indiana Jones, and I was like, hey, those movies were made back in the 1960s, 1970s, the 80s. It was an 80s movie. Sorry, my bad, I'm stupid. And the 80s, so they're kind of touching territory that you shouldn't be really touching, but okay, you know, it's one of those things you can't touch things. It doesn't affect you at all. Like, what does that benefit you, you know? So, I'm telling you, Disney, do not cater to those side of the people. Though, yeah, I'm going to refer them to those because those type of people like to ruin something, and then once they get it, they're like, oh, yeah, we shouldn't have done that. Yeah, you shouldn't have done that. And now, again, with referencing the stove or the toaster, you touch the stove or toaster, you burn your hands, and then now you're like, oh, shit, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Excuse my language. Like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have touched that stove or toaster. It's one of those things. So, yeah, we'll just see how it goes. This ride is bad. It's really honestly bad. It's broken down, at least by far the podcast people said, or at least the articles say, it's broken down multiple times, at least in the first week, which is really, really bad. And the more I watch it, the more I'm realizing, like, oh my goodness, they're right. Because even in the first animatronic, I didn't even notice this until, like, the daylight version of that ride. The two beanstalks, or whatever those stalks are, they just move like this. That's the first animatronic that you see. And there's Luis, the giant gator, right behind there, looking over like this. So just like, what? Like, how in the... I'm sorry, oh my god, dude, like, you can't touch things that you shouldn't be touching in the first place. It's just one of those things, dude. You can't touch things that you shouldn't be. Like, geez, there's a reason why you don't talk about it and just move along. Like, I miss that era of just years. Like, people need to learn, yes, your opinion matters, but at the same time, keep quiet. You know, I can't say that to everybody, but it's just my recommendation. If you have an opinion, fine. But it's just one of those things where it shouldn't result into action, because your actions have consequences. Don't forget that. And this is one of those consequences where you're just like, ooh, yeah. You see? But yeah. And again, I'm going to bring this up, Disney. If you want new rides and new attractions, hit me up. I already got ideas already for Disneyland and California Adventure. We could talk about Magic Kingdom and Disney World. But make Tron happen in Tomorrowland. I'm telling you, if you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, then have a VR thing. I'm going to explain it again. Have a VR thing and what is it, the Star Wars launch bay. Take that out. That doesn't really need to be a fucking thing. It really, really, really doesn't, unless it's not a thing anymore. But take that out. Put Tron in there. Make it a video game virtual reality area, or you can make it, I don't know, an interactive Tron thing. I don't know, meet and greet, whatever the hell you want to do with it. Then do that. Because you already have it for Magic Kingdom. So why don't you have it in Disneyland, you know? Like, you're just leaving Disneyland in the dust at this point. Not only that, in the theater area, right under Space Mountain, keep that as Captain EO and Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. Just replay those like every once a year and have maybe a new movie and have those repeat every single year, because you're just leaving that to the dust. And it's just sitting there, to be quite honest with you. So, yeah, just do something with it. Do something with those two places, and I guarantee you it would not drastically change anything, but it will cater to people that have like, oh wow, you know, like they had this IP this whole time. Yeah, we had this IP this whole time. Excuse me, sorry. But yeah, it would intrigue some more people to go to the theme parks now. So, telling you. Because Tiana's Bayou is not really doing anything. It really isn't. It's just affecting you in a whole long run. So, make it a Tron thing, because you guys are in the works of the movie, so Disney, I'm one of the Imagineers here. I mean, listen to your customers, your guests. That's what they want to see, you know? I mean, it doesn't even have to be a VR headset. You guys can make your own way. I don't really know. I'm just saying, dude. I'm just saying. It seemed a whole lot more fun because it's video game based. You took out Starcade, which doesn't make any sense, really, at all. Because, I mean, Disney, come on. Starcade was really good. Really good, because arcades are not really a thing, which it still should be, because games now are free to play and it's only a quarter for an arcade, so or not even a quarter anymore, but you know, shoot, you know, why not? I'm just saying, Disney, like, I have good ideas, so just saying. And if you want to change Hollywoodland over into California Adventure, come on. I mean, there's already either that, you could have changed that easily to Pixar Avenue. Pixar Avenue in that matter. Because Monsters Inc. is already in that area. You didn't have to make Pixar Pier, like, at all. You didn't have to touch that at all. But I get it, because I did see another, like, video saying that, oh, like, Paradise Pier just felt, like, out of place and whatever. Yeah, I can see that. But, you know, it was Disney's California Adventure, you know. A pier aesthetic, because the piers in at least California, so it just makes sense. But Pixar Pier is kind of just one of those places you're just kind of like, it's not bad and it's not horrible. It's kind of just like, you know, like it's all right. You know, it's really cool. I mean, they do have what is it, a Midway Mania, which I get, but like, just the area in general. Like, you really honestly could have had, instead of Hollywood Avenue still, that's probably still not a thing anymore, but Pixar Avenue. Like, it's right there. Come on. And not only that, it's right next to Disney Junior, so it's, like, perfect. Not only that, the animation or the drawing class and stuff like that, perfect. You know, like, dude, come on. You already have the layout already, but you already spent, like, millions and millions of dollars to reskin the majority of those rides in Pixar Pier. You could have easily made that Pixar Avenue. Just saying. I know it's already happened, or it's already a done thing, but Disney, come on. And that was just out of, like, the head, like, just the top of my head. Like, Pixar Avenue. Come on. And not only that, it's nearby Cars Land, so, well, relatively close to Cars Land, but still, you know, because Marvel's Ventures Campus is like in between that, but still, you know, it just makes sense, because then you have the California aesthetic, because it's Disneyland's California Adventure, keep that in mind, and still have the Disney aspect on the left hand side. So you have like the Californian stuff, and you got the Disney stuff. There you go. Just makes sense, because now everything's out of place, because Pixar's over there, Hollywood Avenue doesn't even fucking matter at this point. And then there's like the Woodland Peaks thing, whatever you want to call it. and then Marvel's Adventures Campus, and then Cars Land is like all the way in the flipping back corner of it. So I'm just saying, Disney, call me up or email me. I could be one of those guys that give you ideas, and you know, just saying, I'm one of those people that are just, I want to see you guys successfully progress through, but you're letting Universal kind of just take the lead at this point. I'm sorry to say it, but it's kind of true a little bit, because they're already making a new part of the theme park or something like that. So it's like, dude, like, come on, like, where's Disney at? They're worried about the Tiana's Bayou thing, and it's just like, dude, like, no, you didn't really need to touch that. You really didn't need to, but because people are so much on it right now, like they were meat riding it like crazy, and just they had to change it, which didn't really need to be a thing. So just, dude, telling you, listen to your guests. You don't even have to listen to me. For me, I'm child at heart. Like, I'm literally child at heart, to be quite honest with you. Like, I'm putting it out there. I'm child at heart. I never really liked to grow up. I'm more of a Peter Pan fan. And I just never really liked to grow up. Like, really at all. You can even ask my family on that one. So, yeah. It really, really honestly, and I love going to Disneyland. Like, I know I can't really afford to do it because it's expensive now, but I love to go to Disneyland, even if I'm not like in the tip-top shape that I am right now, because I'm just not really active because of my depression and stuff like that. But hey, like, fuck it, like, I like to go to Disneyland. I like to go sit around and look at or people watch and stuff like that. I love that. My favorite ride that I can honestly stand and just sit and watch is Indiana Jones: The Great Adventure, or the Forbidden Eye. Sorry, but I love that ride. That's my favorite ride of like the whole theme park. And like, hey, I love Disney in general. Like, I really love Disneyland. That's my hometown theme park, or it's not really in my hometown, but it's my home theme park that I just love. Like, I love going to Disneyland a lot. So Disney, you gotta listen to the guests. Instead of listening to that woke community, listen to your legitimate guests, because there's some things that I still rumor about and still hear about in the theme parks. There's some stuff, like, even you spot attractions like the Encanto Treehouse, whatever you want to change it to. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It's like putting Coco on there, and it's just like, why? Because Encanto doesn't really revolve around a tree, to be quite honest with you. It revolves around a fucking door majority of the time. I haven't seen that movie in a while. I've only watched that movie once, and then when it came out, and I just don't care about it so much. So maybe it does revolve around a tree, but it still doesn't make any sense, or whatever. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. There's some things where you should not change. Like Jungle Cruise, like, it's a tribal theme. Why is everybody getting so butthurt about tribal people? And let me remind you that I am part Polynesian, Guamanian. So, yeah, nobody really talks about Guamanians, and it's a small island. So, yeah. So if you guys get offended, I'm like multiple races at once. So I don't get offended really at all, because racism isn't a thing. I'm already like, maybe like more I should be more offended because I have more races in me than probably anybody right now, to be honest with you, because mostly everybody's most likely just white or Caucasian and something else, maybe a little bit of something else. But yeah, and don't forget, we're in America, and don't forget that we stole land from the natives, so we're living in the area, so keep that in mind. We're in that. What, are you gonna get offended by we stole America when that happened in the 1500s? So just saying, I shouldn't bring that up. Now everybody's gonna get mad about it. So Disney, one of those people. one of those Imagineers. You didn't need to hire those dumb Imagineers. But I don't really draw, but I'm one of the idealistic person. But I can draw, but I just don't choose to. But I'm one of those people that have the ideas. I see the guests' feelings, and also understanding too. Understand like spot placements and stuff like that, because you have a lot of room in majority of your parks, and you just don't utilize it, which doesn't make any sense. I know like you don't want attraction in every single corner, but you already kind of have that already over at Magic Kingdom and Epcot. Not Epcot. Well, Tomorrowland, mostly majority of Tomorrowland, because it's literally every ride in every fucking section of the, literally in that land and in Fantasyland, because literally in the first, when you go behind the castle, literally just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think there's probably one more. 8. Alice in Wonderland's kind of behind Mr. Toad, and then the teacups right there, and talk about the carousel. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 rides in one area. And then it's a small one, it's a little bit down more, it's 10. So, and then that little amphitheater that you have is 11. So, if you guys are worried about over exaggerating with attractions, don't worry about it. We already see it at Disneyland. So, I mean, Star Wars Land is a little bit like distance, a little bit, but the rides are literally like close to each other, so it's kind of just like not that far off. Because Rise of Resistance is kind of the outside of Star Wars Land, and then the Millennium Falcon ride is like kind of like a good walking distance away, so it's really not that far off. So, yeah. Don't worry about having every attraction in every corner. You already have that, and minus Main Street USA. Just saying, like you don't have to worry about shoving down your throat type of thing, because you already kind of have that already. So, just saying, because already in One World or in New Orleans is just pirates. So, have another ride next to it and already fit the theming of it. Tiana's stuff could easily be right there, like just easy right there. You didn't have to reskin anything. You didn't have to touch anything. You could have just made your own ride. But hey, that's your idea. That's whatever. It just doesn't make any sense to change something that shouldn't be touched at all. Really didn't. It really just didn't sit well. It obviously didn't sell with a lot of people right now because the whole new ride. But Disney, you're kind of slacking a little bit. You gotta we gotta let you cook, but not in the way that you shouldn't be cooking. So Disney, hit me up. If you guys agree with me, leave a like and subscribe and click that notification bell down below. Again, I will be recording this, or at least uploading these videos every Sunday. So if you guys like this type of content, leave a like, comment, and also follow me on Instagrams, or mostly on Twitter, because I'm probably just going to put Twitter. But yeah, I love talking about this stuff. I don't understand. I don't understand. I know like this is one of those, I didn't want this episode to be so negative, but you already see you already see the reviews that are happening in articles and stuff because of the whole racism that happened in 1949 in the 1950s, but we're so caught up, at least in 2020, this is when people started getting caught up, like, oh, this movie's racist, when nobody has really honestly seen the movie. I have never seen anybody, and I'm saying this right now, because at the time when people were like backlashing on Splash Mountain, nobody has seen the movie. Let me remind you that the people that were complaining about Splash Mountain that love the idea of Tiana's Bayou have never seen Song of the South. I am 26 years old. I should be one of those people that agree that Tiana's Bayou is there, but I'm not, because I've never seen Song of the South, and 2, it doesn't affect me at all, because for 1, Splash Mountain has nothing really honestly to do anything with Song of the South, only their characters, which is only the cartoon characters, which is Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and Brer Bear. So, rare bear, excuse me. You get the idea. That was really good, like tongue twister. Oh my god, rare bear, rare bear, rare bear. I can't say it now. But it's only the cartoon characters that are in this ride. And it had nothing to do with the movie. Literally nothing. And you want to get caught up on something that was made in 1949 when it's 2020. Literally over a decade. Over a century. Yeah, over a century. Right? Over a century? Yeah, over a century. Right, a century. Just over a decade. Sorry, I'm stupid. I'm sorry. Again, I haven't gotten sleep in a very good while. So over a decade, you are purposely trying to cancel something that does not affect you at all. It didn't come to your house and just say, "Look, hey, you're a piece of trash." You know, like you didn't come to your house and do that. You just had to complain about something that did not affect you whatsoever. I had to say it. I'm sorry, I had to say it. I have the amount of subscribers. If I lose subscribers by having this talk, I don't care because I had my word out and I had that on my chest. Not a lot of people, and actually, somebody on my comment section said, I appreciate that you're being honest and not giving a BS an opinion. And I'm being 100% honest here. I do not care that this movie has came out in 1949. Something that doesn't affect me at all. It happened. It happened. Oh well, move on. It existed. I'm gonna question on it. It's like why was this made? You know, like why the hell was this made? You know, like it didn't need to be made. It looks boring, but you know, like whatever. But yeah, I'm being 100% honest with you. Not a lot of people that were complaining about Splash Mountain never watched Song of the South. So, again, going back to that side of the community, research your stuff, especially on TikTok. This is why I don't like going on TikTok. Yes, I love TikTok for their own opinion, charismatic or characteristics that have your own free word. But I do not like the people that do not do research at all and just be sheeple to that. It does not make any sense to me. If you've never watched and you only watch the TikTok aspect of it and you've never watched the movie because, oh yeah, Mickey has a black face. Remember this cartoon has came out in 1940s, 1950s, and it's an old cartoon. It's a black and white cartoon, and he's covering his face in black ink because of blackface. This cartoon in particular came back in 1940 to 1950s. And what year are we in? We're in 2024, but what year are we in? So, yeah, it doesn't affect us at all. Are they still making that stuff now? No. There's a lot of stuff, especially on Boomerang, that was Tom and Jerry in that matter. There was a lot of cartoons that had a lot of black faces, a lot of racist jokes. Just saying, a lot of cartoons. But of course, you know, people want to see a big company fail because people just don't want to keep their mouth shut, and specifically in a good way. So, I'm just saying, I'm honestly just saying, like, you didn't have to touch something that doesn't affect you really at all. It didn't matter to you. Now that you see it happen, now you're kind of just like, ooh. This is the actual facial reaction. They're like, yeah, we fucked up. Yeah, you did. You didn't think so? That's the whole scenario right now. That's literally the whole scenario right now. Is that the woke community will see this happen. Maybe a good percentage of people, maybe 30% of the people that are like this ride, because they're Disney fans or the influencers, the Disney influencers, are going to be like, oh yeah, this movie's not, or this ride is not that bad. Is it really? Because all I remember is that Splash Mountain was probably like the most iconic. It's like taking out the Disney castle. I've already referenced this with my girlfriend, and she's not a really big Disney fan. She's only been to Disneyland once. I took her once for the very first time. She is 20. She's about to turn 25. 25 years old this year, and she's never been to Disneyland. I took her on my birthday, but I took her when she was 23 years old. So I'm 2 years older than her. So why? Or I think she was like 21. She was like 21 or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, she was 21. Sorry, take that back. So it was my 23rd birthday. So yeah, I took her for her very first time, and I mentioned to her about the whole Song of the South thing, that whole issue. She's like, "What's Song of the South?" It's a movie that came back in 1949 that dealt with after slavery, which it says in the description of Disney Wiki, and pretty much the whole movie. So, yeah, the internet exists, guys. We have to use it correctly. So she's like, "Oh, like, why does that affect anybody?" I don't know. I really don't know. It's one of those things where it's kind of just like, I don't know. You just gotta sit and watch the shit show or the garbage show. Sorry, I'm not supposed to be cursing in this podcast, but hey, like you have those people that just don't want to keep their mouth shut, but see their consequences come into action, and they're like, ooh, like there's some things. I admit there are some things that they did fix, and in a way, but there was also some things where it did help, but it also made it worse. So, hey, and I don't. Let me say this. I believe that all lives matter. Asians, blacks, Mexicans, Native Americans, Indians, just anybody's lives matter. Everybody's. It doesn't have to be the BLM or the whatever the hell it is. Everybody's lives matter. Literally everybody's lives matter. Because if you're saying that Black lives matter, then your life doesn't matter. You don't care. The people that usually support that are usually Caucasian people that get offended by usually anything. Have you noticed that? Have you honestly noticed that? So, Disney, do not follow that section of the internet. Do not. I'm telling you this right now. You may have younger Imagineers that are probably relatively my age, but do not ruin your whole reputation just because of idiocracy. Yes, I know I used that word, idiocracy. Watch that movie. So, yeah, I'm 26 years old, and I just watched that movie. I just watched The Matrix for the first time too, like a couple weeks ago or a week ago. So, hey, I'm 26 years old and I barely just watched The Matrix, a 1999 film. So, or 1998. So, hey, you can't touch something that shouldn't affect you really at all. I'm just saying it out there, putting it out there. We're done. Okay, we're gonna watch any Disney fan, and you're upset with this ride. I feel bad for you. You should feel bad. I mean, obviously you should feel bad, but I feel bad for you. You got to see Splash Mountain disappear. I wanted to ride Splash Mountain the next time I go, but now I can't really do that now. So, it's one of those things where kind of just like, yeah, this is what got ruined because people got offended by something that really didn't affect them at all, and they're like 21 years old, and they're just like, we got to ruin something, so we got to make her mark in this generation. So, hey, you guys are ruining your own future, and let it happen, I guess, because I already know that there's a lot of things in this world. It could be pretty dark, and I know I shouldn't be talking about that, but hey, this is supposed to be a Disney episode, so hey, I just had to put it out there. But anyways, I'll talk about more Disney in the next episode, in the third episode. But I hope you guys enjoyed episode 2. Again, leave a like, subscribe, and click the notification bell down below, just to see if there's more episodes the next week. Again, I will be uploading every single video, or at least this episode, every single Sunday, because every Sunday is a really good, easy day, because I usually record this, upload it, and that's it. So I don't have to really edit anything out, because this is just my real talk. Because I feel like podcasts really honestly open the doors for people to have free word. So, yeah. I feel like I should put it out at least on the internet because I believe in free opinion, free word. So this is just my own free word. Again, this is my opinions. This is my show. If you don't like any of the stuff, then fine. You know, it's up to you. You didn't have to watch this episode. You didn't have to watch any of this. It's just my own talk show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, honestly, I don't mind. I don't regret making these podcast episodes because it's my own thing. So, yeah. And if anybody likes this type of content, again, leave a like, subscribe, click the notification bell below. Comment also if you like this type of stuff. I really appreciate feedback. If you don't, rather than trying to not try at all, That's what my saying is always. So, hey, Disney, hit me up. Just saying. So, I'm the gunslinger, So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Alrighty, or this podcast. See you guys next Sunday. Bye.